Happy Monday! I hope everybody had a great weekend. Just to begin, Miss Martinez, we are going to need everybody to go ahead and have their worksheet before I begin the video. So if you need to pause it and pass out the worksheets if they don't already have those. I am actually going to graph a few of the problems that are on the worksheet with them first, and then they can continue to work on that worksheet afterwards. I know that you have just missed me so much and that you are so excited because I will be back tomorrow. You're going to have to try to contain yourselves, but I'm probably in a car right now driving back towards North Carolina, and I'm excited about seeing you too. So with that being said, the first thing is we have to decide what we are talking about today. And so the past 2 days, you all have talked about systems of equations. And today, we are going to talk about, I can't spell on a good day, especially while I'm talking, systems of inequalities. You already know how to graph an inequality, and now we are going to look at graphing a system of inequalities. So, on problem number 1 of your 6-8 study guide and intervention, if you are looking at that first problem, number 1 has that y is greater than -1. That's going to be one of our inequalities that we are going to graph. And x is less than 0. Now, for y is greater than -1, we know that this is a horizontal line. It's going to be a horizontal line at -1, and it is going to be dotted because we don't have an equal to sign here. I hope you didn't forget that already. So I'm going to dot my line in. Here is my y is equal to -1. All the way across I have a dotted line. And then I have to decide how I want to shade. If I plug in 0, 0, my favorite point is 0 greater than -1. The answer to that is yes. So we are going to shade above the line. We are all up here. And yes, if I were Tanner, I would color every single thing in. But sorry, Tanner, I'm damn lazy. If I have x, excuse me, less than 0, then we have a vertical line. It is still less than, so it is going to be dotted. And it is a vertical line at 0, so we are going to draw a dotted line right here on our 0. Now, I don't think this has happened to us yet, but in order to find out how to shade, we can't use 0, 0 because 0, 0 is right there on our line, and we know 0 is not less than 0. So we have to pick another point. My next point, which I go to, with that 0, 0 doesn't work, I'm going to pick 1, 1. I like 1, 1 better than anything else. Is 1 less than 0? No, it is not. So 1 is on the on the right hand side. So that means we are going to shade the left hand side. As you can see, this area over here is actually intersecting. We have green shading and blue shading. So when we're finding the answer to a system of inequalities, it's just where the shading overlaps. green and blue together do not make red, but in this particular case, we are going to say that this is our answer. Any point at all is going in this double shaded area is going to make both of those inequalities true. Just to check one time, we know that we can go to -5, +5. -5, +5 would be like right here, right in the middle of it. If I have x equals -5, +5, and if I plug into my y is greater than -1, we can automatically see that 5 is greater than -1. And if we plug into our x, x is less than 0, then we can see that -5 is less than 0. So we are good to go. Hit check. That's our first system of inequalities. Problem number 2, which you have in front of you on your sheet, is y is greater than -2x plus 2. And my second inequality is y is less than or equal to x plus 1. To graph our first inequality, it's diagonal this time. We are in the form of y equals mx plus c. So I have a slope of -2 over 1. I have a y-intercept of 2. We know that we are going to go down 2 and to the right 1. And if you want to go ahead and determine if it's just greater than, then this is going to be a dotted line. So I'm going to put a point at 2, my y-intercept, right here. I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, to the right 1, or up 2 to the left 1. And we have a dotted line, so I can't use my line drawer. There's probably some way to do that, but I'm not going to try to figure it out today. Now I have my dotted line. We're good to go on 0, 0. It's definitely on the left-hand side. So if I plug into y is greater than -2x plus 2, where I'm using 0, 0, 0 is greater than -2x plus 2, 0 is greater than -2 times 0 plus 2. That cancels out, and it's telling me that 0 is greater than 2. I'm having trouble. 0 is greater than 2. The answer to that is no, it is not. So I don't shade the side with 0, 0. I shade over here. I'm making Tanner nervous again. I'm not doing a good job. Alright, now I'm going to go to my second inequality, where I have a slope of 1. That means we are going to go up 1 and then right 1. And we have a y-intercept of 1 as well. So I put a point on 1, and I go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. We know how to do this. Down 1, left 1. Been doing this for months. It's equal to, woohoo, solid line. I don't have to try to draw. I can come over here and get a beautiful line for you all. There we go. But I do have to figure out my shading. So if I go to my original equation, inequality, and I plug in 0, 0, then that's going to give me 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 1, which is true. That is true. 0 is less than or equal to 1. So you can see right here, for the blue line, we're going to go in this direction. We're going to go where 0 is true. And so all of this section right here, see where my lines cross? Right here, all the red. You may want to use colored pencils so you can just give me this gorgeous work for me to come in. Some students like to use colored pencils. I know you all have thousands of markers and Sharpies and all of that. So just please try not to draw on each other or the desk. But this way you can see how beautiful all of the points in the red section are answers for our system of inequalities. And there are infinitely many. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then hopefully you guys will be ready to go. Number 3, y is less than x plus 1. It's diagonal. We have a slope of 1 over 1, which means up 1, right 1. We have a y-intercept of 1, so I put a point at 1. Up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Here we go. I hope you're already seeing that it's going to be what kind of line? Less than is dotted. So we're going to dot right here. I have to decide whether we are going to have 0, 0 shaded is definitely down here underneath. So I rewrite my inequality, and that is going to be 0 is less than 0 plus 1, which we agree with, but 0 is less than 0 plus 1. So we're going to shade. Yay! Now, you also can see on your paper that our second inequality is 3x plus 4y is greater than or equal to 12. And this isn't helping us much. We've got to do some work for this equation. We have to subtract 3x from both sides, and we get 4y is greater than or equal to negative 3x plus 12. And then we have to divide everything by 4. Y is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 3. Sorry guys, no fireworks this time. But I hope you're realizing fireworks are a possibility. If you divide by a negative when you're working with these inequalities, you do have to take that into consideration. I come up here to 3, and with the slope of negative 3/4, I go down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a solid line, so I can use my beautiful line maker. And I have to check. If I plug in to our original equation, oops, sorry, I'm about to run out of time. I have 3x plus 4y is greater than or equal to 0. Not 0, 12. And so 3 times 0 plus 4 times 0, I hope we're all saying in our head, is 0. And is 0 greater than or equal to 12? No, it is not. So our answer is going to be over here. And the answer to our system is this doubled over green and blue. This section right here is our answer. Please